So now that we've done our basic key poses, we're going to go into the graph editor now, which is this icon here. If you click on that, then you'll be able to see your viewport as well as the graph editor. So now if I make sure I'm in my left view, which is the view I'm going to be staying in at the moment to animate this, and I press F in the graph editor to scale the translate Y to the size of this port, you can see there's a general motion going down, going from literally this high point down to here. So you can get an idea, a sense of idea that it's slowly losing its energy. But in terms of timing, it kind of looks a bit even in some cases, but we'll move that along. So obviously with here, this stretch feels like there's too much going on here. So what we'll do, we'll click highlight this, the keys that we want other than the last key, and we'll literally just hold the shift and middle click button and just move them to the left, maybe 2 frames. Do the same with this side, maybe 2 frames, maybe 1 frame for this one. It's just to the point till you see that it's gradually losing energy as well as the spacing in between. And I'm just doing this by eye, doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way. Let's have a look at this again then. So now in terms of timing wise, maybe it comes to a stop a bit too quick. Because if you notice this, if this was to carry on here, there'll be a bigger gap here than there is on this one, and then this one, and this one, and then this one, just to show that gradual losing of energy. You want to kind of get a sense of flow going down from the high points up. So necessarily, let's bring this down a little bit. That way we kind of get a nice gradual diagonal line following that through. Okay, I think I'm okay with this for now. Going back in the left view and playing it from this. Let's go to show and untick grid. If anyone's having trouble with this and they don't know how to get rid of that, the show button tends to help a lot with anything when you're importing new rigs, as well as a bull rig. When you're doing a character rig, a lot of things are going to come up, whether it's joints, IK handles, subdivision surfaces, and you're going to be selecting certain things that you don't want to key. So in future, if you want to just make sure you're keying the right controls, go to show and then select none, and then go back to show the curves, which are the ones that you'll be setting the keys on, and polygons or subdivision surfaces, depends, or nub surfaces, depending on what the model is made of. So now that we've done that, if we press play now, you know, you get a basic idea of exactly what's going on. We know that this is okay for now. So now with the ball, I like the timing, but I feel it needs a bit more hang time in the air, just to show a little bit of weight that it is. And as you can see through here, it's slowing in and slowing out. It's not abruptly hitting this point. To abruptly hit this point in real time as a bouncing ball, it would be literally shooting down probably from this point onwards. It would be enough like a straight line, because gravity is taking over inertia and is ready to make impact. So in order to obtain this through these keys, what we're going to do is we're going to select all the bottom curves, and we're going to break the handles. So now we can select everything individually, but as well as breaking the handles, we want to go to curves and then go to weighted tangents. And you notice that everything's weighted now. They're different than what they was in terms of these little circles. So like if I go back off and go non-weighted tangents, you see that this happens. Now it's like this. When I go to weighted though, and I select it, you see it's a lot different, and I can, depending on if the handles have been broken, they can be manipulated a lot differently. Now I want this to hang in the air just for a little bit more. I don't want it to be shooting down around here just yet. I want it to stay up just a tiny bit and then start shooting down. So I can't do that with just weighted tangents. I can't just select them and all I can do is move them up and down. I can't move them left and right. And if I select this tool here, the free tangent weight tool, and click that, now I select this handle again and I can move left and right. If you hold shift and middle click, you'll get a more accurate movement. If you use left click mouse button, you're gonna get some awkward motion going on. So I highly recommend that you hold shift and middle click when doing this. So I'm going to pull this up just a little bit, and you notice how you can just tell that it's going to stay up there for a little bit longer before it comes racing down to this point. So now looking at this, I know that this hits the ground fine, but I know that it doesn't slow down before it hits the floor. Looking at reference and animating bouncing balls before in the past, you'll notice a few things that don't exactly add up. And remember, when you're animating, you don't want to make something that look necessarily realistic. It's just got to look believable. So I'm going to grab that handle and I'm going to select that free tangent weight tool again and just bring it up. So now we have a nice curved movement, holding its weight here and then shooting down right to the bottom here. And this is necessarily the arc movement. This could fall into place with arcs. So this helps with a nice circular movement, give it a nice believable feel. So what I'm going to do that quickly with the rest of these guys and just see how this looks, and we can go from there. And you notice I'm just literally doing exactly the same thing with every single one. Note that when it gets to this kind of size and you can't really tell exactly what's going on, just literally select the part that you want, press F, and it will zoom in on that. So now we know we've got a nice track of movement. So like looking at reference and analysing the bouncy ball, you can obviously tell that a ball generally moves in this type of motion when moving. So if we have a look at this now, just by literally animating that in the graph editor, let's see the difference now. It looks much better. It hangs a bit too much, maybe hangs a bit too much. Maybe I need it to come down a little bit more at the start, but we can always tweak things as we move on. Doesn't mean it's necessarily the final animation.